This episode is brought to you by Greenlight. Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
With new, gentler scented Clorox disinfecting wipes, clean finally smells as good as it feels. On everything from lamps to ceiling fans. Even on your kid's toy shark. Oh, ouch. Clorox disinfecting wipes. Now available in crisp lemon. Find it on Amazon. Clorox. Clean feels good.
Non-binary listeners, ladies and gentlemen, heroes and heroines, crooks and crookians, Creedence Clearwater Revival, the audio performance you are about to enjoy, discusses casinos and gambling. We do not recommend gambling with money you cannot afford to lose or that is needed to pay bills. If you have a gambling problem, contact your problem gambling hotline. If you do not know how to contact your problem gambling hotline, send an email to help@casinocombat.com. We'll find that number for you and provide it to you. Our host's past performances are not indicative of anyone's future results, including his own. All materials presented here are based on actual facts. Names and dates are changed to protect the innocent and the guilty. Some events, unrelated outcomes may be omitted in the interest of brevity and clarity. It's me, it's TRG, the Rambling Gambler. I am just trying to make a living and doing the best I can.
Lyrics, dude. Recite him some lyrics.
Someone told me long ago, there's a calm before the storm, and I know it's been coming for some time. Welcome to episode 142 of our Casino Combat podcast. If this is your next time, welcome back, and thank you so very much for the gift of your time. If this is your first time, welcome. We are so glad to have you here, and we hope you will stick around and be part of our squad. There is a storm coming, a wonderful storm. That said, I'm gonna mess with the timeline and our normal format just a bit. This is episode 142 of our Casino Combat podcast, just not the episode 142 you were supposed to get. That episode is mostly recorded. That episode is partially edited. It's about a wonderful 12-day Atlantic City and Bermudan cruise adventure. It is the next official episode on the timeline. Before I could get it finished, I went off for a really cool adventure in Las Vegas to play on private crafts tables and go to Crafts for the Cure and make a great squad donation. A really cool adventure. I have a great hour-long conversation with members of the Inner Circle and the Excelsior Brigade recorded for that episode, which will come next in the timeline. So we have a storm of content incoming just as soon as those things could get finished. What came up in the meantime was a storm of great questions from the squad. For each of those questions, I recorded a segment to answer the question. Good questions. And in my never so humble opinion, great answers. And all that is just sitting here on the hard drive, waiting for an episode to need a questions segment. 3 of those. And those other episodes aren't done yet. I got the next episode almost done. And I got the next episode after that almost done. And those episodes don't need a question segment. So here's the battle plan. I'm going to tell you about something amazing going on in the Casino Combat Galaxy. Then I am going to do a question segment, followed by a question segment, followed by a question segment. And then we're going to wrap things up quickly in the virtual VIP lounge. Simple as that. 3 great questions, 3 great answers, and then I'll be back next episode to tell you about our Atlantic City adventures and continue things on the timeline. So what is going on in the Casino Combat Galaxy as it spins through the TRG-verse? Big news, big, huge news. If it was a slot machine, it would be saying, amazing win! Premier Casino Hosting has just scheduled the very first Casino Combat Squad event at Green Valley Ranch near Las Vegas, Nevada. February 28th, 2025 through March 3rd, 2025. Qualified players will be comped accordingly. I hope that you will join Mrs. TRG, the Radiant Goddess of Casino Combat, and myself, along with other members of the squad, to come hang out at this beautiful resort for the weekend. Do some eating, do some drinking, do some gambling, hang out, be a squad, have fun, use the arsenal, win some money. If you are interested, here is how you get to be included. Contact Eric Hazel at Premier Casino Hosting by texting his personal cell phone, 989-227-3124, and let him know you would like to join us. Again, text Eric Hazel of Premier Casino Hosting at 989-227-3124 and join us at the end of February 2025 Casino Combat Squad event. All right, here we go. Simple battle plan. Let's roll out that first question.
What?
My sons ask questions about gambling. Well, not so much anymore. We're not riding together to wrestling events and soccer games and those types of sporting events. So they ask a little less about gambling. But fortunately, listeners do ask questions about gambling. And I have an excellent question to talk with you about this week. I got a great email and it says, "Hello, Mr. TRG. I'm not sure I need to be Mr., but thank you very much. He says, "I came across your podcast today, have listened to a couple of episodes. Thank you for taking your time to put out gambling content. I have been playing Baccarat. I don't wager every hand. I can consistently wager on 40 to 60 hands and have almost 50% wins and 50% losses. Longest streak of wins and losses in a row usually is 4. Rarely does a streak go past 4 hands. Currently, I flat bet. This seems like an opportunity for a progressive wager of some sort. He said progressive wager. I have learned expensive lessons about progressive wagering in the past and swore them off, but I'm thinking I should reconsider. Your advice would be appreciated, and please let me know how I can support you in any way. Thank you, Travis." And so here's my reply. Here's what I said in return. I said, "Hi, Travis. Thanks for writing. Welcome to our squad. Baccarat is a 50-50 game, and you are getting 50-50 results. The math is mathing. If your goal is tier credits and comps, that approach works. But if your goal is cash profits over time, I don't know how to make flat betting work. The core concepts spelled with a K, of course, of Casino Combat recommend using a wagering process that includes regressive wagers, i.e. increased wagers after a losing or series of losing wagers, as well as progressive wagers, i.e. increased wagers after a win or series of winning wagers. In episode 62, 63, and 64, I taught a system called TRG2, Always Be Grindin', and an add-on called the Meta Martingale. In episode 97, I taught a refinement called TRG4, Win More, Keep More. On the Same Bet YouTube channel, you can find a video demonstrating TRG4 on the Craps Don't Pass wager. Internet Craps personality and megastar Dave Carlin does an amazing job of showing the system in action. The Casino Combat YouTube channel has a playlist very cleverly named Wagering Systems, where I demonstrate all my wagering systems versus video blackjack. At casinocombat.com/Fred, you can download flowcharts created by Inner Circle member ECE PhD that teach the systems step by step. Those systems all implement the ideas in the core concepts. We recently introduced a new system called 454 Rapier during a live video event. Rapier is a technique for designing core concepts based wagering templates. 454 is one implementation of that technique to make a system that keeps you on the table for longer periods of time, generating higher ADT scores while searching for a win. I am offering 3 hours of video instruction on that technique for $30 using materials from that event. That can be paid via PayPal. If at any point you want to learn that technique, feel free to email me and I'll send a payment request through through PayPal. Thank you for asking about support. We are always grateful for any and all listener support. We are active online. Following, liking, subscribing, sharing, stars, thumbs up, comments, all those things online help others find out about our podcast. That support is truly, truly appreciated. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can find the links at the top of the webpage, casinocombat.com. We are also active as a squad in the Facebook group, Casino Combat Squad. Telling other players while at the tables in a casino is also a great way to spread the word about our podcast. Financial support is always appreciated to keep the servers running and the website active. You can go to podcasters.spotify.com/pod/show/casino combat. Side note, boy, that's much better pasted into an email than it is read, but you can go to the Spotify page for Casino Combat and click on a button that's labeled support this podcast and make a recurring financial contribution to the podcast. And I appreciate those of you who do that. I can't say thank you enough for those of you that have said, hey, here every month I'll donate a few bucks to help keep the lights on. It really, really does help, and I mean that thank you from the bottom of my heart. I continued. Of course, you can always use PayPal and send contributions to trg@casinocombat.com. And those of you that do that, I gotta tell you, folks, those of you that just out of the blue use PayPal and send a few bucks and say, happy birthday to Mrs. TRG, or grab some champagne to celebrate your anniversary, or I just had a big win because I did this technique for the first time. So here's a small contribution to you guys from that win. Thank you very much for all of those. And I'm sorry, I digressed. To continue. That said, the support we appreciate most is participation. Just being part of the squad. Since you just started listening, here's a heads up. There is a game hidden in the podcast, especially the early episodes. Directions, times, and distances to my home casino, Casino 2, are embedded in the podcast. If you determine the real-world name of that casino, you become a member of an elite group of listeners, the Excelsior Brigade. Hint, and I do not give hints, folks, so if you are interested in joining the Excelsior Brigade, here is a huge hint. Questing Scholar turned me on to this when I met him recently. The reward system for that property has actually changed since those episodes were recorded. It was my choice, and it's still technically my choice. It's the same owners. They just rebranded their reward system as Penn Gaming. So my home casino, Casino 2, is now a Penn Gaming property. Excelsior Brigade members are encouraged to find Equine Ensign, Same Bet, or Nakatomi Tony in the real world. Track those guys down and ask to join us online in the virtual VIP lounge on Slack, where we hang out every day, 24 hours a day, helping each other be better at the game of casino gambling. I need to talk about that more in a minute. Thanks for writing and listening, Travis. We are thrilled you decided to join our squad. If you need anything, please email anytime. I'm always here. I'm always happy to help, TRG. And let me just circle back for a minute there. Couple of things. If you're interested in the rapier design techniques, if you're interested in understanding what rapier is, we did a 454 implementation of the rapier concept as part of a online live Zoom event. We recorded it. I recorded a bunch of supplemental materials to it. 454 rapier is being tested, but people are also testing 444 rapiers, 333 rapiers. We got a lot of people doing a lot of testing, getting a lot of good results. It's a way to say, I want to accomplish these goals at a table. How do I construct this rapier construct for my buy-in in order to accomplish that goal? And we're seeing good results with it, and we're seeing it as a useful way of thinking. And I'm more than happy to send you all those materials for a $30 contribution to the podcast. The other thing I talked about there, which is much, much, much more important, if you would like to, in the palm of your hand or on any device that you are using, have access to some of the greatest gambling minds on the planet who all day, every day are exploring new ideas, new techniques, new ways to play, their results from playing the way we play, how things are going for them, what they're doing. If you want to be supported, if you want a group of people where you can just go, hey, how does this credit card compare to this credit card as it relates to gambling? Boom, you'll get the answer. If you need to know the odds of some wager happening, if you want to know the odds on a particular wager, whether it's a good idea to make that wager or not make that wager, how a particular game is played that you're not familiar with while you're in a casino, if you just want a shoulder to cry on, the Inner Circle members and the Excelsior Brigade members hanging out all day, every day in the virtual VIP lounge on Slack are an incredible, free, trustworthy resource. There's not a lot of places anywhere on the interwebs where you can hang out with gamblers of this caliber and not make a monthly or annual subscription payment. There are groups out there, there are websites out there, and you are going to write a check or swipe a card on a recurring basis for the privilege of being a part of that group. And we're not those people. Nothing wrong with being those people, but that's not who we are. That's not what we are about in the virtual VIP lounge. We're about contribution. We're about participation. We're about the effort of finding in the real world the people and places described in the virtual world that is our Casino Combat podcast. So if you are already a member of the Inner Circle or the Excelsior Brigade and you are not with us in the Slack virtual VIP lounge, find Nakatomi Tony, find Same Bet, find Equine Ensign, and ask them. It's just like the Masons. To be one, ask one. But first, you got to be a member of the Excelsior Brigade. You got to be a member of the Inner Circle. So if you are not a member of the Excelsior Brigade or the Inner Circle, get that done. Listen to those early episodes. Full disclosure, there are commercials. I might make 2 or 3 or 4 pennies for the podcast in the process of you listening and trying to figure out where my real world home Casino 2 is. But do that, and you are encouraged to then join us in the Slack virtual VIP lounge. All right, according to the battle plan, the next thing we're going to do is a Questions My Sons Ask segment.
What?
My sons ask questions about gambling. Random strangers ask questions about gambling. Wonderfully, listeners ask questions about gambling. And I have got a great question here from a very active member of our squad. Lucky Drunk wrote in, and he said, "Hello, TRG. Hope all is well with you and the squad. There is a situation that I'm coming up against on a fairly regular basis now, and I thought it would make for a good question." And as an aside, it does make a good question. It's excellent. This situation is where I am up against a basic strategy double, and I have a large bet due to a 454 rapier, TRG1, or even TRG2 or 4 at the 3-unit size. Let me give an example. Say I have an 11 against a dealer's 10 valued card or an ace. In my mind, I've already in essence more than doubled my bet due to the betting system, and if I just take a hit instead of doubling the amount, I'm also leaving myself the option to hit again to improve my hand if needed. On the other hand, if the dealer card is 3 through 6, where I would not take another card no matter the circumstances, I would always double as there is a higher probability of a dealer bust. Around 40% in parentheses there. I'm always an advocate of putting more money out on the table when you have an advantage. I'm just wondering if there becomes a point where that advantage is so small that you don't want to tempt variance with such a large bet. Do you think this is a line of thinking that is a slippery slope to playing poorly, or do you think it has any merit? Thanks for all you do, TRG. Lucky Drunk. I do love that handle, by the way. I've played that character a time or two to great effect. The casinos love a Lucky Drunk. They don't think you're a skilled player at all. I said, "Hey, Lucky Drunk, thanks for checking in. Solid question. What you are saying is, should you increase the house advantage to reduce bankroll and buy-in exposure?" I don't hate it. I really don't. I was just in Vegas and spent a fair amount of time playing free bet blackjack instead of regular blackjack. the house advantage on free bet versus standard blackjack is roughly 1% higher, which is to say they're going to hold about $1 more per 100 wagered than they would at a standard blackjack table. But because the house puts up the money for doubling any hand of 9, 10, or 11, and because the house puts up the money for splitting any pair of cards except a pair of 10s, bankroll and buy-in exposure is reduced. $75 wagered on a pair of 9s versus a dealer's 4 cannot become 4 $75 hands doubled twice. Well, actually, it can become that number of hands, but you don't have any more chips on the line. The house puts out a little gold disc to cover that wager on your behalf, and you get paid as if you had put real chips there. And I rather like that trade-off. I really do. In many ways, free bet blackjack is becoming a form of the game that I prefer when I can find it because of the protection of bankroll and buy-in on those big hands with large wager. Having said that, I do think this is a slippery slope to poor play. And almost worst for me, scared play, or play based on feeling and emotion, not logic. I like to make as many choices as possible outside the casino and in advance. So, if I was going to take this approach, I'd start at home with a strategy card for the table rules that I would be playing. And I would go through each double, and if you're so inclined, each split, and decide what I was going to change and at what unit size. I'd try to get an approximation of how much house advantage I was yielding back in exchange for bankroll and buy-in protection just for my own peace of mind. And I confess I would have to ask my friend the rocket scientist who works for NASA to help me with that math, because my days of doing hardcore high-end statistics are a bit behind me. I would need help for that. But having done that, I would and been satisfied with what I was giving up in house advantage, I would then memorize and practice that chart before I went to the casino to play that way. And that's the easy part. That's the very easy part. Now, here's the tough part. I would play that way every table for 100 tables and record the results and my thoughts. Then I would go back and evaluate the outcome of that change in play style to see if I wanted to keep it or dump it. I don't think anything less than 100 attempts is enough to really evaluate a change of this type. It's easy to have a couple of winning tables and in your mind you're going, this is great, this is perfect, this was the best idea I ever had. Or see situations where the change in play saves you money and you think this is perfect, this is great, I'm really on to something. And likewise, you could have negative results early. Maybe a hand that you would have doubled and won that would have got you caught all the way back up and put a win in your win stack, and now that doesn't happen. And you struggle and get knocked out. And you say, I'm not doing this anymore. I don't think this makes sense. This is junk. I was wrong. I think a change of play of this type needs a reasonable sample size before you evaluate whether you want to continue that or not continue that. Thanks for the great prompt, Lucky Drunk. Always great to hear from you. Always appreciate you checking in. That was absolutely excellent. And next up, we are just going to have another question segment.
What?
My sons ask questions about gambling, listeners ask questions about gambling, and in a somewhat awkward moment, and for good reason, sometimes people who understand how to play 454 Rapier ask questions about playing 454 Rapier as part of their gambling. So with apologies to those of you that are not 454 Rapier students, I am going to use this platform to distribute the answer to a very good question, a very smart question. JP Madison writes and says, I've been practicing the 454 Rapier a lot at home using a 6-deck shoe. I am really liking the results. I'm ready to try in live casino very soon. I do have a question. In your playing of this, have you played 6-deck versus double-deck blackjack? If so, does it play better with longer play 6-deck with multiple back and forth with the dealer before shuffling, or does it play better with a quick double deck with quick shoes and fast shuffles? Thank you for your input. JP Madison. So I wrote him back and I said, because it is, that's a great question. I have not had an opportunity to test versus a double deck game yet. In the places I tend to spend most of my time, either a double deck game is not offered or it is a high limit game. A base unit $100 buy-in is $3,000 to test a full 454 Rapier. I'm not comfortable testing at that level of buy-in for something new and only lightly tested. I can tell you that the feedback I'm getting from other people testing the 454 Rapier is fairly consistent. And as a result, I can tell you what I would expect to see in a double deck game. 454 Rapier keeps you in the game and hunts for wins. It looks for the unicorn portion of a shoe, with lots of regrouping and some taking small single and double unit wins along the way. MC Rolling Checks has been doing some testing, and he reports that he is staying on tables longer, being scored higher, and being comped better playing 454 Rapier than he was before he started playing it. Those were the goals for the system, more so than, air quotes, big wins. This is to say, testing appears to demonstrate that the system does what it was designed to do. As such, I would expect in double deck play to see shuffles where the player regroups a small loss in the play stack from the win stack and a small win of a unit or two is recorded. And I would expect to see that frequently. I would expect to see shuffles where the win stack is 4 or 5 units and it is recorded as a win. Good progressive wagering runs will be cut short or not be found because of the shuffle, or will need to be continued across the shuffle if you prefer. Some of us like continuing a trend across a shoe shuffle even with 6 or 8 decks. Some of us do not. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to feel about that. Regressive wagering will obviously need to be continued across the shuffle, or a loss will need to be recorded and the process aborted partway through with a rebuy. That's not really what 454 Rapier is supposed to do. Of course, you could ignore the shuffle entirely and just play and regroup until a positive or negative exit is reached, in which case, double deck is going to play very similarly to a continuous shuffle machine where roughly one deck of cards is gradually built up in the discard rack before being placed back in the machine to be shuffled. I expect 454 Rapier to play just fine in that environment, while admitting I prefer the break the need to shuffle the cards creates in a shoe game. If you have an opportunity to test, please let me know your impression of the system in a double deck environment and how close my guess was to reality. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing the excellent question, TRG. All right, up next, we are going to adjourn to the virtual VIP lounge for some sips and some stories.
A little bit of the bubbly.
Welcome to the most must-listen-to segment in casino lifestyle podcasting, the virtual VIP lounge, and our lounge is open, and we have the best virtual everything virtually all the time. Best virtual food and drink served in any virtual VIP lounge anywhere on the interwebs, guaranteed or your money back. As always, if you can, press pause, pour yourself something, fix a plate, hang out. That is what VIP lounges are for. I will confess I am boring today. Very, very boring today. I actually have a diet root beer sitting here that I've been sipping on while I put all this together. I have a interesting story for you, and not a story in the beginning, and middle, and end sense, more a story about, hey, this is what happened to me sense. And you're going to hear more about this in an episode or two. I am using the power of the Casino Combat Ring to change names and dates to protect the innocent and the guilty. I got a chance to do a private craps table event recently, put on by Premier Casino Hosting. Put on by Eric Hazel, actually, at the Sunset Station. That's it. Get your facts together, TRG. At the Sunset Station. I got a chance to do that. Wonderful experience. Really cool. As I said, I'm sure you're going to hear more and more about that when we play with the timeline a little more here. But the one thing that stuck out to me is there were some really, really good craps players there. Really, really good at throwing the dice and getting the results they would like to get and avoiding the results none of us want to get unless we're a don't player on the craps table. And the one guy in particular, they were all good. Or almost all of them were good. It's not an environment where I'm going to shoot. We're playing the one day, and the dice are going good. The dice are going good. Everything's going fine. We had some other guests with us, and we're hanging out, and we're having a good time. And all of a sudden, the dice are just like a bullet, and they smack into the table right beside me. And I look up, because that's not what the dice are supposed to do when this dude is throwing. When this dude is throwing, the dice loft up nice and soft and float down and kind of land right at the end of the table, just kind of kiss up against the wall every time. And that's not what these dice did. As I said, they came out straight, not much arc, hard, fast, slammed against the wall. And I'm like, what's going on? This isn't right. And the dice get passed back, and it happens again. And I realize his bets are off. And then I look around the table, and other people's bets are off. Everybody on the far side of the table where he is standing is off, and there is steam coming out of his ears. He had had enough of the behavior of a couple of guests at our table. He was tired of how they were betting. He was tired of how they were approaching the game, and he had decided he was just going to get rid of them. He was not going to throw well. He was not going to use his skills. He was not going to help anybody make any money. I was lucky both of his bullet throws actually made me money, actually got me paid on the bets that I was making. And so I was fortunate in that regard that I took 2 throws. I managed to figure it out. I turned my bets off. Like 2 throws later, big red happens. Everybody gets wiped out. And as they're collecting all the chips and everything, there's just my 4 bets sitting there. And the dealer looked at me and I said, no, I'll take those back, please. Thank you very much. We'll wait till the next one. Good situational awareness, I guess. Good knowledge of what's going on the table and what to expect from other players. And I think a lesson, at least a lesson for me, and a lesson I tried to incorporate when I got invited to play at a private table with people I knew were really good. I decided my role was to be the guy who made his bets quickly, who made his bets quietly, who didn't cause any problems, who wasn't making a lot of noise, who wasn't standing anywhere where anyone would want to stand, who was good at throwing the dice, and to be willing to move if somebody said that was the spot they wanted. I was the church mouse. I was not TRG, talking big, chirping, yakking away, telling stories as I sometimes am at a blackjack table. And not chirping in the Gabriel sense of giving people a hard time, but just telling stories and being my normal big personality. I was just kind of the guy in the corner. I was just kind of the guy happy to be allowed to be there. And this other set of folks who were just joining us for one session didn't really realize that. They were kind of big personalities and kind of overwhelming the table, and a table that these other gentlemen rightly felt belonged to them. And it did not end well in that regard. So I was glad I was wise enough to kind of read that room correctly, saved myself some money, knew the people I was playing with. And so then let me just say one more thing. This was all set up by Eric Hazel. It was a tremendous event. He does an incredibly good job. He is super easy to get along with. He is super easy to reach and contact, and very transparent in how he does business. That is one of the things I love about Premier Casino Hosting. And I'm not doing a commercial for them, but what I am doing a commercial for is the event I told you about at the beginning of this episode. We're going to be mentioning it. We're going to be talking about it. It should be a great time at Green Valley Ranch. I've been to that property a couple times. It's been a minute, but I've been there a couple times. It's beautiful. It was wonderful the one time I was there. I've heard nothing but good things recently about it. I'm looking forward to seeing it again, and I'm looking forward to seeing it with as many of you as possible. I'll be honest, this is the end of the rainbow kind of thing for me, right? When you set out to do a podcast and it's about gambling and you're thinking about what might be, if any one person actually cares to listen, about what might maybe the impossible dream that could happen. It's maybe we have an event and everybody comes together at a casino and hangs out, and there are people that care and want to do that. And there'll be some other PCH people there, I'm sure. People love these PCH events. I've been making friends. I've been meeting people. They're all wonderful. They're all super nice, unless you slow up their craps game. They're not too happy about that. But wonderful people, fun to hang out with, knowledgeable casino people. Eric's a really smart guy. Eric's a really great craps player, a lot of knowledge, a lot to be learned. If you have any way at all, I really encourage you, come out, hang out with us that last couple days of February, first day or so of March at Green Valley Ranch. And the way you do that is you text Eric Hazel at 989-277-3124. Give him a shout, hit him up, tell him you'd like to go, see what arrangements can be made. We would love to have you there. We are really looking forward to this. It should be a great time. Please tip your waitresses, tip your bartenders, tip your dealer. If you have a host, tip your host. Remember your wisdoms, everybody. Don't tip away your wins. I have spoken. Everything you heard here is true from a certain point of view. In 10 years, we may find out I was wrong about all of this. It's time for leaving, and I hope you understand I was born a rambling man. Love it, hate it, it don't matter. Please share with your family and friends. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening. The best part of the podcast is next, the Casino Combat Blues.
If we knew more about our sleep, what would we do differently? Would we go to bed at a consistent time? Or take steps to reduce interruptions to our sleep? With the all-new Sleep Score, Apple Watch measures your bedtime consistency, interruptions, and sleep duration. Then, every morning it combines these factors into an easy-to-understand score from 1 to 100. So you'll know how to take the quality of your sleep from good to excellent. Introducing the new Sleep Score on Apple Watch. iPhone 11 or later required.
Hi, I'm here to pick up my son Milo.
There's no Milo here.
Who picked up my son from school?
Streaming only on Peacock.
I'm gonna need the name of everyone that could have a connection.
You don't understand. It was just the 5 of us.
So this was all planned.
What are you gonna do? I will do whatever it takes to get my son back.
I honestly didn't see this coming. These nice people killing each other.
All Her Fault. A new series streaming now only on Peacock.
For Atlantic City Empress, Casino Combat's ace.
There are profits in the casino tonight, I can feel it in my bones. I had a premonition, you should probably play alone. I know the house has an advantage, but that's part of the thrill. If we follow the core concepts, the chips begin to spill. So baby, here's your player's card, put your bankroll in your hand. Use just some of that money now, do it just the way we planned. Just follow the core concepts and you could win several grand. Well, it's good if it goes down like that, don't have to play to lose. It's gambling as a business, the Casino Combat Blues. Casino Combat Blues. The dealers and the pit bosses, the security and the law, the winning and the losing and the tricks nobody saw. No matter if it's blackjack, roulette or craps, you gotta carry defense cause you always carry cash. There's lots of shady characters, lots of dirty deals. Everybody has an alias cause that's more fun we feel. It's the lure of winning money, it's got a very strong appeal. Perhaps you'd understand it better standing in my shoes. It's the ultimate enticement, it's the Casino Combat Blues. Casino Combat Blues. Whoa. You don't see it in the headlines, you don't hear it every day. No one's trying to stop us and we don't need to go away. We can gamble in Atlantic City, we can gamble in LA, we can gamble out in Vegas. I mean, we're here to stay. Gambling's propping up the budgets of folks like me and you. You ask any casino manager, he'll say there's nothing he can do. From the pockets of the casino, right down to me and you. Me and you. It's a
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contracts. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.